Business from the council. If Councilmember Preet Didball can gather up her voice.
I will try. Actually, it's short. I had the Regional Housing Authority meeting, and that was actually a very short meeting. We didn't have much on the agenda other than going through the hiring process for the executive director. Other than that, there were no other commission meetings. I did attend, while I was sick, the Buckeye Parade. Had a really good time. It was windy, no rain, but a lot of fun. Other than that, that was about it. And just as an update for the summer City Hall program for the kids, that is now in the works of getting the classroom and job shadowing positions in line so that I can get that implemented this June. So we're looking at June 6th is the start date. So I'll keep you guys posted. Application process will begin soon.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Dukes.
Had the privilege of going to Lanecrest Elementary School a couple weeks ago and participating in the Read Across America with Dr. Seuss, and it's always fun to do that and go spend time with the kids in the classroom and answer their questions. It's one of the fun things that we get to do. Attended the Shady Creek Evening in the Forest a week ago and helped support that great organization. Attended the Sutter Butte's flood control meeting last Wednesday and the mosquito vector meeting. Nothing new to report out of either one of those two, and then also participated in the Buckeye Parade on Saturday. That's all I have to report at this time.
Thank you very much. And to Councilmember Cashgill.
You know, it's interesting, for all these years we participated in Buckeye, it's never really rained on the parade itself. It either rains before or it rains afterwards, but during the entire procession it never rains. So that should tell us something about the Buckeye God, right? As the chairman of the Sutter Buttes Flood Control Agency, I was in Washington, D.C. for our last meeting with myself, Mike Amini, and Scott Shapiro, who is our attorney. And these trips that we do are once a year, and they're designed specifically to go back and visit and update the powers be, such as the Army Corps of Engineers, who oversees this project, the Office of Budget Management, our elected officials, not so much of those because we can visit with those guys down here. The interesting thing is the very first time, and I've gone back, I think this is my 4th or 5th trip back, seems like when you go back, you're visiting with these folks. The first year you had to spend some 15, 20 minutes just introducing yourself, and you have to tell them where Yuba City is. We're north of Sacramento, 45 minutes going north, and they kind of, in their mind, they kind of get this thing. Now we just walk in the room and we just tell them, we're so-and-so with Sutter Buttes Flood Control Agency, and they automatically know who you are because they're working with us, and this is one of the largest levee projects in the United States. And the interesting thing was, we're talking to the federal government, and this levee project, according to their budget, was supposed to be about $680 million. And we're able to do this project probably for about $300 million, all because of the assessments that this community passed on ourselves, as well as matching funds, 1E funds from the state of California. So the federal government hasn't given us basically any dollar yet, but they're kind of putting all the controls in it. So when we're going back, our main purpose obviously is to update them on what a wonderful job that we're doing on this project, that it's on time, it's under budget. And by the way, we need another $35 million to finish out the project from Laurel Road down to the river. And it was interesting because, everybody's got these ratios and terms that they use. When we went in, and we've gone many times, and we went to the Office of Budget Management. There's a gentleman by the name of Gary Waxman who served in a different department, but now he's serving in flood control. And he started looking at our overall project. When we went in this project, we applied for it, what area is going to have the best benefit for us, and it was going to be up from the north past Oroville all the way down to the city of Yuba City. So by the time we do this base ratio, they want us to be above the 2.3, and we're like at a 1.3. And so even though the federal government hasn't given us a dollar for it, so we were always below this ratio that needs to be. Anyway, after making a long story short, Gary's talking to us, and he said, well, you know why you guys don't qualify? Because your ratio is so low, and what you need to do is you probably need to, since you've already finished this project up in the Oroville Gridley area, you need to take that out, and you need to go from Live Oak down south And so then your ratio could be above 2.3, and then you qualify for this additional funds. Nobody's been straightforward to come out and tell us that. Oh, by the way, I didn't tell you that. So it's like, okay, well, that's good to know. Then we went into the Army Corps of Engineers and started updating them on what we're working on. And let me backtrack. We went to Garamendi's office and told him about this project. And he's our congressman, knows the whole area. And he goes, well, how much money do you guys need? $35 million to finish out what we need. Well, how much does this project authorize? $680 million that the Army Corps can get off their books. So if we give you $35 million, we could take $680 million off our books. Yes. And then his wheels start spinning going, Feinstein's working on a bill. So if we give you 35, but we could use the 680 somewhere else, don't tell her that we got these funds. Okay. So then we go to the Army Corps of Engineers, talk to them about it. And they're going, you know what? No, that 680 doesn't work. So that money's already going to be off the books. But we got this thing, it's called one and done. Can you get this project done in 1 year? So yeah, we're already in design right now. Well, we got this thing, it's called one and done, and we can go ahead, there's a new WARDA bill coming out, and we can go ahead and put this $35 million in, and it'll be allocated, and you guys can get it done in 1 year. Can you do it in 1 year? Yes, we can do it in 1 year. So it's these types of meetings that you go face to face. You go talk to sometimes the same people, sometimes the different people. It's the old saying, keep asking the question over and over and over, and sometimes you may get a different answer that points you into the direction. So that, we left on a Monday travel day, got there about at 4 o'clock, and we started off with the meeting at 6 and dinner meeting at 7. Tuesday, all day long in meetings. Wednesday, all the way till 5 o'clock, jumped on a plane, was back here at 11:20 at night. So all in all, a very, very productive meeting, and we'll follow up with these meetings on cap to cap. And our goal, it's interesting, I saw a news story from Channel 40 down in this area about Yuba City. How safe are the levees? And we don't know. And to be honest with you guys, those of you guys have been following, we probably got some of the safest levees now than we had in 1997 when we all got evacuated, because the majority of that stuff's got a well over 200-foot slurry wall sliced right down the middle. We also visited with the Native American Heritage Association Indians, a Native American. That seems to be a big issue with us as we continue to work on the levees, the stuff that we're finding with the Indians and the tribal issues. So that's a story in itself, but they're keeping apprised as far as what's going on. So even though we're in Yuba City, everybody in Washington is keeping an eye on our levee, on our flood project. Even on the issues with the Native American Indians. They're all apprised of what's going on. So I think that's great to this community, because there's no way that we would have got this project done had it not been for this community of passing the assessment. So that's all I got.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Vice Mayor Stan Cleveland.
Ran out of breath. February 9th, I had Gil Sizer District relatively routine meeting. We are discussing some new options for when perhaps the city lines change and some responsibility there. But other than that, also I went on February 10th to the Regional Water Authority, RWA, in Citrus Heights, and had some discussions on, of course, water quality, but also the rain and the attempts to try to allocate it to whoever they're going to try to do. We're talking water storage, and that has gotten a very good push forward. I saw something in the paper today about it with our state legislators really working hard with that, and it is moving. But then I also heard from a couple of people within that committee that they're now going to start pushing for the groundwater and conservation and try to get their coalition built up again to get the attention back on that, because they're not happy that it's all going to, discussion is all going towards surface storage. Well, so anyway, we're going to have to go back and assure them, yes, we're that's just a temporary holdback, and so we're going to do some discussion on that. Also, some of the communities have been talking to the state and sending them letters saying, we don't have a drought here anymore, so quit telling us that we have a drought and that we're required to conserve at certain levels, because we're trying to get rid of the water in our area. We're getting too much. And, the state goes one size fits all. Everybody gets the same slap on the hand. Percentages may be different, but it's the same policy and procedure they use. So they're also looking at a regional or a watershed basis for future approaches to conservation. And the regional approach basically is we would take multi-jurisdictional areas, cities and counties, and say, within this region, we need to reach, as a group, this percentage of savings in conservation. Because some areas, they can't conserve more than 20%, because that's just not, they're already living in a conservation type all the time, because they don't have the water supply. And so they're looking at doing that for mutual benefit for the different areas to do that. So the approach is going to be different, and they're going to be talking to the state about some of that stuff. So I will be going Thursday to League of California Cities meeting, and I'll be able to report on that in the future. And it also has to do with water quality, and wastewater there. So basically, that's my life right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I attended the Sacramento Area Council of Government Relations and Public Affairs Committee meeting last Monday. The one area of significance that came out was a presentation made to us by Caltrans, and this is the fox watching the hen house in regard to trying to develop some type of funding mechanism for roadways. One of the significant pieces that was brought up by all of the area directors is the disproportionate amount of roadway rehab that needs to be done in California by local jurisdictions versus how much roadway is actually under Caltrans's jurisdiction. And that the whatever the funding mechanism be needs to reflect that usage in a more evenly distributed manner. What they're working on is a pilot program, and it's a road charge. It's not a gas tax. It's a drive-by-mile feature that the legislature has asked to be looked at. This is going to be, once again, a voluntary project. The reason I bring it up to you is we would like the rural areas to be involved and to apply for consideration to become involved in the program. They will select, I think it's roughly about 60,000 vehicles to be able to do this study with. They're going to have varying types of data that they'll collect. One will be a self-read odometer reading. Others will be the onboard, the OB2 slot in a vehicle in which GPS and all the other data would be collected as to the type of roadways and how many miles are being traveled, what time of day that the vehicle's traveling down the road. There'll be cell phone collected data. There'll be mapping data that will be installed into cars in different ways. There'll be monitor reading type programs that they will have available, and they want to collect it from a varying degree of different technologies that are currently available. We are interested in, especially in our area, as having the rural community apply and become active in this. We believe that, and I personally believe that living in the rural area, you could be charged disproportionately for the miles traveled to be able to conduct business. We also are looking at the aspect of farm vehicles, trucks that travel off highway in our county, up and down dirt roads would also be in that charge. So we need to look at all those aspects and how that would affect ag and all of the other production components in our area. So please, when this comes out through the Department of Motor Vehicles, and they will be sending out data within about the next 3 months, they say, so expect it within 6. They'll be sending the information out looking for volunteer applications for this. Again, it's the Road Charge Pilot Program, and it's being conducted by Caltrans. So that's all I really have, and with nothing more, we'll adjourn this meeting. Thank you for coming tonight.